Hey everybody, welcome back to Transparent Talks with God. I am your host, Henry Neat Jackson, and I'm so excited to have you all here. Y'all already know that I love y'all, and I'm so grateful that you all are continuing to join me on this journey as I become transparent before all of y'all. So for today's episode, I'm going to be giving you a testimony of how God allowed me to find my voice and be comfortable with my voice so that I was able to take on this calling that he had on my life to do this testimony, to do this podcast, y'all. And I'm going to be showing you a diagram of what he had me do, a drawing of what he had me do that I think will be very beneficial for you all to use when you are asking God to show you some things, and when you're going through your testimonies and even seeing like stuff just in the physical, how God will amaze you and blow your mind. So are y'all ready to get into it? Let's do it. Okay, everybody. So my testimony starts back in June. Okay, it starts back in June when I was doing a fast. It was the first day of the fast, and I was like, I want to be very intentional. This last 6 months of the year, God, I want to see your hand in a new way. I want to experience you in a new way. There are some things that I've been praying for that I want you to answer on. And so I'm just going to be very intentional when I'm doing this fast. I was intentional in my prayers. I was intentional in my journaling. I was intentional in my reading of the Bible and studying the Bible. I just became very intentional. And then one of the other things that I started doing was I started reading Sarah Jakes Roberts' book, Woman Evolve. And as I was reading the book, I was like, y'all, like, I'm doing some soul work as I do this because, God, I just need you to touch on every area of my life because this last 6 months of the year, I want to see a new move from you, right? So I got to one of the pages in the book where Sarah asked, what is the question that your soul has been asking? And she was like, I want you to dive real deep. I want you to dive deep. I want you to reflect because I want you to know what it is that your soul has been asking. And so as I was like doing my reflections, I'm diving deep because I'm thinking like, okay, maybe it's like something with my depression or when I went through depression. Maybe it was something when I went through anxiety. I don't know, something, right? But one of the questions that just kept coming back to me as I was reflecting was, is it okay to talk now? Is it okay to talk now? And as he was like putting that in my head, and as I was like, as the question came in my mind, I was like, wow, that's like a deep question for me because usually I'm like this quiet person, right? I'm a quiet person. I don't really like to talk like that. But God was like, you do like to talk. You are a quiet person, but there are some things that was deeply rooted or seeds that were planted in you as a child that sprouted out and grew on this tree that caused you to be closed off, that caused you to be even quieter than you actually are, that caused you to shut down, that caused you to not be able to express yourself, and that also caused you to not be comfortable with this voice that I have given you, right? And so as I began to do my reflections, God had me write a diagram down, guys. He had me write down the question, like, what is the question my soul has been asking? He had me write the question down, and then he had me write down when it started, what I wanted, what it resulted in, what I wanted to do to the question, and then lastly, some decrees over this question. And then what he also had me do so that I can see it in the physical realm is he had me draw a tree. Now, y'all, I am not an artist. I am not an artist, but he had me draw a tree. He had me draw the roots of the tree and write the question, and then see the fruits that this tree produced that is now affecting the way that I am right now in life, right? And so I'm just going to read off of what I had on here because it's really good. If you are asking God and you want to know, you want to see something in the physical, right? And you want God to show it to you in this way. It helped me, so maybe it can help you. So like I said, I wrote down the question up here in purple, and I used different colors, but that's just me. I like using different colors when I'm writing in my journal. but I used different colors because it was easier to identify each part of it, and I could also easily flow with it as well. So let's get into it, y'all. So in blue, I wrote when it started. So I wrote when it started. I'll read it. It says, "My soul has been asking this question since middle school. I was always shut down by my mom and others when I would try to express myself or tell if I didn't like something. I would be told to stand in a child's place, told to be quiet and shut up. I would be called dumb or that I thought I was better than others." So whenever I would try to like express myself and I would try to, have like conversations and say like things that I did not like, I would be told to be quiet, stand in a child's place, mind your business, the whole full 9 yards, y'all. All of that. I was called dumb. I was told that I was, thought I was better than others because I would speak in I just had a broader vocabulary, right? And so when I was speaking those words, they would be like, "Oh, you think you're better than other people, this, and that." And so what that resulted in me just shutting down. That resulted in me changing my language so that I can, and essentially like dumbing it down so that they can understand what I'm saying. And then also it just resulted in me not being comfortable. So I'll read that next part. In orange, I wrote what it resulted in. It says, "This resulted in me growing up and not feeling like it was okay for me to express myself and not knowing if it was okay to talk and speak up, which resulted in me shutting down and becoming this quiet person and not knowing the power of my voice." Because that's what the enemy was allowing people around me to do, was to diminish my voice so that I would not know the power of my voice. Because as we can see, the very thing that the enemy had them shutting down and throwing all of these darts at is the very thing that God is using now for me to do this podcast and to set so many people free from telling my story. He thought that if they could take away my voice as a child, I would grow up and not ever speak, right? But the enemy is a liar, right? So then in black, God had me write what I wanted to do to this question. So I wrote, "I want to kill this question and finally shut it down so that this tree bears no more fruit, so that I could finally speak and express myself and stop saying I don't know when I really do know. I want to cut it at the root so that I stop letting people walk all over me and start speaking up. I lay an axe to this question and I give it the answer it has been searching for." So when I say I lay an axe to it, Lord, I want you to cut it down because I want to know the fullness of my voice. I want to use this voice that you have given me. I don't want to be shy. I don't want to be timid. I want to express and use this voice that you have given me, and I want to know the power behind it, because it was shut down for so long that I thought that I was just like this quiet person that only talked when spoken to, but also talked when I talked so much when it was just me and God. And God is like, "No, like, that's not what I want you to do. That's not who you really are. That's not who I made you and created you to be, right? And I want you to know this gift that I have given you, this power that I have given you to speak things as though they were," right? And so lastly, in purple, down here at the bottom, guys, I wrote some decrees. He had me write out some decrees that I wanted to speak to this tree, speak to these roots, to shut it down, right? So I wrote, "Yes, it's okay for you to talk now and forever. God gave you that voice and it is important. Use your voice and speak loudly and spare not. Your voice needs to be heard. You can talk. It's your right to use that voice God is giving you, and don't shut it down anymore." So when I got done writing this, guys, I felt so much better. I literally just had to like take a step back and look at the paper and look at what I wrote. And I think I probably like read it a few times because I was like, wow, like, wow. You get what I'm saying? Like, wow, like, okay, God, this is deep. I didn't know this, but you can't fix something that you're not aware of, and God made me aware of it, but he also had me instantly, like, immediately do the work to start fixing it, right? So then I'm gonna show you all the tree that he had me use. This is this tree, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I am not an artist, okay? I am not an artist, but this is the tree that he had me draw, and down here are the roots of the tree, and then it's the question, is it okay to speak now? And up here I drew the fruit of what caused from that seed being sown, and it grew this tree, the fruit that grew from it, right? I was walked all over. I felt lonely. I felt I was quiet. Well, yeah, quiet. I felt like I couldn't express my feelings, so that was a fruit that grew from it. I gave I don't know answers when I really did know. Sometimes I just thought that if I gave the answer, then somebody would shut me down, or they would tell me like, no, you don't, girl. You know, so it made me just start saying like I don't know way more when I really did. And then of course being shutting down. So when I would like try to express myself, what it did was, or what the enemy was trying to have them do was, if I did not like something, like for instance, now if I did not like something and I knew I didn't like that thing, I would just be quiet. I would keep it to myself, because I'm like, I don't got time for confrontation. I don't have time for somebody to tell me to be quiet. Like, it just made me go into this shell. And God is like, that's not who I called you to be. I called you out. You cannot go into a shell when I have called you out. When I have given you a voice that I want you to use to save millions of people, you cannot go into a shell. So he had me do this work, y'all. And remember, I was like, I wanted to be very intentional with this fast. So the fact that God had me do this during my intentional time with him, and intentionally fasting, so that I can see a new move of God over these next 6 months. This was something new. I never did this before. I'd never like thought about doing anything like this before, but it really helped. So at the bottom down here, I wrote another decree over this tree. After seeing it in the physical, after drawing it out and seeing it in the physical, I was able to write another decree over the tree. And I said, God is laying his axe to this tree, and it shall not bear any more fruit. We cut it at the root, never to produce and live again. No more shall my soul ask this question. My voice is important, and my voice matters. And let me continue on the testimony, guys. And let me tell you how I think after I got done writing this, maybe like 2 days later, I want to say 2 days later, maybe 2 or 3 days later, is when God began to speak to me about doing this podcast. So isn't that crazy that God was like, I'm going to have you do the work. I'm going to have you do the soul work and finding your voice. I'm going to reveal to you that you don't know the power of your voice. And this is an area that, needs to be cut, so that you can so that when I call you to this assignment, and I call you to what I have spoken over your life, you are ready and able to do it, so that you do not shy away when you're trying to do this. Because this is something, y'all know I say this all the time, this is uncomfortable for me, but it's becoming way more and more comfortable the more that I do it. So of course, it didn't just happen like overnight, where I was just like, I got my voice back. Like, I know the power of my voice. Like, yeah, I can talk and yada, yada, yada. No, I had to have God gave me a burning bush moment. So y'all know Moses, right? When God called Moses to go to Pharaoh, and God called Moses to go and set the children of Egypt free. He told Moses, you got to go to Pharaoh, right? And Moses was like, but God, I am not eloquently, I can't speak. Like, you want me to go, and I can't even speak well. So that was me. I'm like, God, you want me to do a podcast, and what I'm supposed to speak to these people about? I don't even talk that much. Like, I'm this quiet person. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And literally, God gave me a burning bush moment. I was at church, and my youth pastor did an altar call, and while I was up there, God began to speak to me, and he said, I have given you an assignment. He said, I've given you a charge to let my people go, right? He said, I've given you a charge to let my people go from the voices of depression, the voices of anxiety, the voices of things that have been keeping them bound for so long. I want you to let them go from the things that they have been chained with for so long. And I want you to turn on the camera, basically, and speak to the nations. Use this voice that I have given you to speak and let my people go. Tell your story. You're going to do so by telling your story. That's how you're going to let them go. That was my burning bush moment. And then literally immediately after God got done speaking to me and telling me that, my youth pastor, he comes and he's like, turn on the camera, go to the nations, turn on the camera, go to the nations. And I was literally like, just what? Like, just in shock, y'all, just in shock. But I also knew that it was just confirmation from what God had just got done telling me. And God was like, this is your burning bush moment. This is your burning bush moment. Don't say that you can't speak, because we already done did the work. You know the power of your voice, and I've already given you the keys and the tools, and it's your story, just speak comfortably. And once he did that, it was like over with, y'all. Like, I still sometimes be having to shoot these episodes like 15 times, because I'd be like, who, God, you want me to say this? You for real? But God be like, girl, just do it. Just do it. And then once I start, it's like the easiest thing. It's so comfortable. And we are, 7 episodes in, and it's been great, y'all. It's been great. So I want to leave you with some encouragement. If God told you to do something and you're like, God, but how can I do this when I struggle in this area? And how can I do this when I struggle in this area? Take what God said to Moses, and let me go to it, y'all. In Exodus 4:10-12, when Moses was like, God, I can't speak. God was like, am I not the one that makes a person talk and make them mute? Am I not the one that makes them deaf and make them blind? Am I not the one that can make them see? If God told you to do something, do it. Just like we've been talking about in these last 3 episodes on the podcast of faith, and walking blindly by faith, and taking the leap of faith, and doing it, just doing it, because without knowing how it's going to look like, just do it. Moses had to go and tell Pharaoh to let the children of Egypt go. I don't know why I keep trying to say something different, y'all, but he had to go and tell them to let the people go. And he was just like, Lord, how am I supposed to do that? But God made a way, and he was able to do it. So I encourage you to go to the Lord and ask him to begin to reveal to you ways that will help you in doing what he has called for you to do, so that you can stop making excuses for not doing it. Because that's what I was doing. I was making up excuses. I was like, I can't do this, God. Like, how am I supposed to do this? I don't even talk that much. I don't want nobody to know my story. This, and that. And God was like, girl, do what I told you to do. And he got me. He took me through the work, and he showed me how I can do it. And here we are. Like I said, we're doing it. And so just go to God and ask him. Don't be afraid to ask God to show you how, because he wants to show you how. He will show you how if you ask him. And even if you don't understand still, he's God, and he already has the whole path planned out for you. Your job is to only be obedient and do what he says do. And if you have a question while you're doing it, go to him, ask him the question. He'll give you the answer if it's something that he wants to answer you on. And so, y'all, go to God, draw out your trees that needs to be cut, draw out your trees that need to be, laid an axe to, so that thing can stop growing in your life, and that you can finally be set free from that. Y'all have a great day. I'm so happy that you all continue to join me on this journey, and I pray that you all have received and learned and understood. So have a great day. Bye. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. I pray that this has blessed you. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share. Have a great day.